Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Garrett Smith, also known as the Nutrition Detective around these here YouTube parts, and we have another subscriber Q&A day. Some of you may notice that the camera looks a little different. Hold on, I'm getting things set up over here. And so I have a new camera. So it has like you can follow me around and stuff. And so if we have any camera issues today, it's because we have the new camera. That is the reason we were late today. You know, we're late most of the time. So, that's just kind of the way it is. It's live. So I wanted to, so we don't have any questions in the chat yet. People are going to start filtering in here. So I wanted to go over some testimonials first, and then I wanted to hit on two interesting studies on topics that I've gone over before. Uh-oh. It just said my active audio input device was unplugged. That should do it. Okay, I think we're back on. Now it looks like the camera's weird. Okay. Joe, is the camera weird? Here. It looks like it got flat. Anyway, whatever. Here we are. So let me hit on these testimonials, and then we will go into the other stuff. Okay, here we are. So Joe put this link in the chat if you want to click on the link if you need to see it yourself. There are some labs here that you may want to go over if you want to look at them. So testimonial number 1. OMG, you guys, dude. The zinc niacin salve, that's one of our products, the zinc plus niacin salve, is a freaking miracle. My feet are so cracked and split open, I was having to super glue my feet together every other day, even my toes. And I was thinking I was going to have to start taking Vicodin just to walk because it hurt so bad. But guess what? 2 days of the salve and I can walk around pain-free. Thank you, Dr. Smith and Kelsey, or whoever it was that came up with that. And the thing is, I was already taking zinc and niacin orally for a long time before this. And then you have a bunch of emojis. So yes, when we can deliver, okay, if you don't know, folks, cracked feet are, oh wait, Joe, I didn't share it yet, did I? Oh, you have it on yours. Okay. Let me go share let me go share so it's all ready. And then we'll do this. Okay. So cracked feet, cracked heels, yellow heels. Usually if people have cracked heels, they might be dry. They might look kind of white from the skin, but also they often tend to look yellow. Why would they look yellow? What makes skin look yellow, folks? Vitamin A. We have had multiple people, including myself, who have had dry and cracked and even yellow, dry, cracked heels that have healed over time on the program. So it is a vitamin A toxicity problem, if you didn't know. It's not just because you start wearing your, sandals in the summer. I mean, that may make it worse. It's like the heater in the winter makes you get dry in your sinuses because it's dry air. Yes, wearing different shoes can make it worse, but the problem is still underneath there. If it happens every season, it's not just taking your feet out of your shoes. There's more to it. There's a deeper root cause. That's why it keeps coming back. Okay. So anyway, zinc and niacin salve, if it's applying those two nutrients directly to the skin, the idea on topicals, if you didn't know, the idea on topicals is like topical magnesium. You put it on what hurts, right? Or where you have issues. So you put zinc and niacin on the areas, especially with skin stuff. Now, I went over zinc and niacin salve and other stuff. If you've never flushed before, if you've never taken niacin before, you may, and you're sensitive or you're toxic or you're really sick, you may flush from the niacin salve the first time and maybe after that, because the more toxic you are and the less niacin you've ever taken, the more likely it is that you're going to flush from the salve in that area. It doesn't spread everywhere. It stays pretty much in that area. But it doesn't mean you're having some sort of allergic reaction to it. It is the niacin flush. It is flush niacin. So it is fixing stuff. That is a detox process. That redness, tingling, itching, pins and needles, that is a detox process and it goes away. If you ever get the salve and you get the flush from the salve and you get kind of that, it's a redness that kind of sticks around, your detox is stuck. Like it didn't finish. Oh, whoa. Sorry, I did the zoom out. I did the zoom. I did the Zoom thing. Okay, I got to watch my hand movements. That's hilarious. So if you where was I? Oh, if you get the flush from the niacin salve, you want to, if you have niacin to take, flush niacin to take it. It will clear out what was stuck, and that's how we know it got stuck. The flush is a detox process. If the detox process gets stuck, then you stick with redness. Just like a sunburn is a detox process in your skin, but it gets stuck because likely your ALDH sucks and the aldehydes got stuck in your skin and they didn't finish going through. And then a week later, when you're finally peeling and the redness goes away, that is the detox finally finishing. So with the flush, the zinc and niacin salve, if you get stuck, if you kind of flushed and it gets stuck and it didn't finish, some oral niacin or some more zinc niacin salve will make it go away. Just know that if you're flushing on the zinc and niacin salve, you're really toxic. This is not saying anything bad about you. It's just you're really toxic. And that's why that's happening. And you have a lot of it stuck in your skin. So, okay. So let's get to the other testimonial. Here we go. So this is a long one. Those of you who are on Twitter and follow people that I follow, you may have seen this. I'm not going to say his name, but he has been on the Love Your Liver program and low vitamin A for, when did he start? Year one, he started in 2023. I'm not sure when he started then. If this is after year one, after year two, or after year three. I'm guessing it's after year three, something like that. Anyway, so we'll just hit on some of these. Ferritin's kind of staying the same. I don't know if he's doing blood draws. The big thing, his testosterone at the start was, this gentleman had lots of like really high vitamin A, really high copper. He screwed himself up eating tons of liver. I think he said 2 years. It's either 1 year or 2 years of eating liver. Gave him horrible anxiety, horrible sacroiliitis, so lower back type of pain. And he's actually in pain, the medical pain field. So anyway, I'll let you guys read this. I'm going to go, and I don't want to hit on all the labs. Let's go over. He describes them here. Year 3 update with blood tests attached. He is a 37 to be 38 next week, so he may be 38 by now. Year-old male. Symptom tracker. Gone or so rare now they're effectively resolved. Irritable bowel syndrome, sacroiliitis, ankylosing spondylitis. Folks, do you know how hard that is for anybody to even calm down, much less make it go away? Roaming painful joints, disorganized cuticles, though nails are intermittently brittle. Chronic right shoulder and rib cage pain needing to be adjusted every week. Brain fog very rare now, better concentration. So this is a little confusing here, but yeah, he's saying this is gone. Chronic right shoulder and rib cage pain needed to be adjusted every week. He doesn't have that anymore. Brain fog's very rare. He says the disorganized cuticles are gone. He says they're still intermittently brittle. When you detox stuff and it comes out, it's going to come out everywhere it possibly can. It's going to come out your eyes, your ears, your fingernails, it may show up coming out in your hair even. Okay. So let's keep going. Intermittent and improving. Drowsy after eating a big meal. He said usually family parties, bad foods he doesn't normally choose. Anxiety, still pretty nasty waves of this periodically, maybe every few months. He said this was really the worst this ever got. Well, this was caused by the liver that he ate. Insomnia and wake-ups at night recently seem to be breaking through on this. Frequent nighttime urination, 2 to 3 times urine. Usually this comes in waves, and on a couple occasions in the last year, he's gone all night. I'm guessing he means he's gone all night without peeing, as these are improving, right? So eczema is almost completely gone now after it got insanely bad early 2024 on the backs of my hands for most of the year. He's posted about this with pictures. Trouble focusing eyes, disorientation with hard cardio, heat or exertion. This has been massively improving lately since getting on B12. Hydrogen sulfide. B12 is a hydrogen sulfide antidote. And if B12 massively fixes something, this gentleman eats plenty of meat. So is it a B12 deficiency? Or did he need more antidote for hydrogen sulfide than he was getting. Hydrogen sulfide is nasty stuff. This is why we don't eat a lot of sulfur foods, because they make hydrogen sulfide in you and it's toxic. So these things are all either not happening all the time or they are improving. So that's what those things were. Still present, cold hands and feet, low free testosterone, though total doubled from last year. Teeth are still a bit sensitive, had a nasty cavity in my wisdom tooth and just got it pulled recently. He had a theory that this nasty cavity that he'd had, which he'd had, I believe, before he got on the program, was the source of the hydrogen sulfide. Now, okay, folks, there's only so much a diet can do. If you have a broken, rotting, infected tooth, there's only so much that diet can do. Like, mouth problems are rough. So anyway, so he had it pulled, which is, rather than getting it filled or rather than getting a root canal or rather than getting more crap, toxic stuff put in your mouth, he had it pulled. That went away, and then he got on B12, which again, like I said, he thought this was a hydrogen sulfide source. I haven't looked that up. I'm not going to do that right now, but it's quite possible. The B12 helped. Biggest changes from last year to now are blood retinol finally dropped from 53 to 30. Mine went something similar on the last test that I had where it went from 52 to 28. Folks, if you're doing the program and you're monitoring your vitamin A, it often stays, as he says, blood retinol finally dropped. So he was on the plateau, I'm guessing. Let's go look. Let's go look at his retinol. Where is it? Did he put, oh yeah, there it is. So 46 to 52. This would still be like what I call the plateau. It's still very close in range. And then all of a sudden it dropped by nearly half. This is the way it goes. So if you're getting better on the program and you're doing the work and you're noticing symptoms improving like this gentleman's list, and yet your vitamin A is not moving, don't be like, oh, boo-hoo. No. If your symptoms are improving over time, you are improving. The only way that your vitamin A level is staying where it is because you still have plenty in you. However, your symptoms are improving because you are emptying out the stores. It is quite possible that your blood vitamin A is mainly maintained by the vitamin A coming out of your fat tissues and going into the blood and going to the liver as your body finally gets rid of it. Like, why else would your blood vitamin A stay so steady for so long? Because your body has control over how much it's letting out of your body fat. Your body fat makes retinol binding protein, if you didn't know that. So your body has some control over how much vitamin A it lets back into the system. So this is normal. What I'm saying is this is normal to be on the plateau, and then finally it drops. I didn't mess up my my camera by pinching there, did I? Now I'm all nervous about making the camera zoom in or out. Let me get back to this. Okay, so let's see. My total testosterone more than doubled from last year, back up to my 2017 levels, yet sex hormone binding globulin is higher than ever and free testosterone is still quite low. We're figuring that out. That may just be part of the process. The addition of B12 has been doing some nice things for me. The problem with my vision had gotten quite bad and started to affect me even with the moderate exertion I do at work. Seeing this turnaround has been amazing. So, again, this gentleman got his problems from eating liver, which has tons of B12, and he's eating plenty of meat. So do we suspect an actual B12 deficiency here? I don't. He did mega doses of B12, drug-like doses of B12. I think he may have actually even done some injections. You don't get more drug-like in vitamins than injecting them, okay? So if he saw improvements in multiple areas, it is most likely a systemic toxicity problem, not a deficiency problem, because there's no reason to suspect in his diet that he doesn't get enough B12 for basic needs. If he wanted to get ahead of it, not only did he get the tooth pulled, but then he dumped in a bunch of drug level B12, and that may have antidoted the hydrogen sulfide. Go feel free to search cobalamin, hydrogen sulfide, and even put the word antidote. People have written entire, it's in PubMed, multiple places. People have written entire PhD theses on it. Wait, what's going on? That thing just flickered. What happened? Okay. I see the little camera blink at me, and I'm like, Joe, I don't know what's going on. I think because one of the things is you can do your hand, and it'll like decide whether it's gonna do the AI like following you or not. It's not catching it right now. Anyway, whatever. This is a little weird live streaming with not understanding the camera yet. So, okay. So we were on the testimonial. Okay. So here we go. Let's go back. So erectile dysfunction, ED. All I will say is this year, I've finally now become quite convinced that I'm on the cusp of a massive recovery with this problem and just need a little more time. The drop in my blood vitamin A and rise in my testosterone is very encouraging. And I think that in another year or two, things are likely to get better, possibly better than they've been in my entire adult life. I've seen this pattern with the eczema, anxiety, insomnia, etc., where some things have to get much worse for a while before they get better. This happens and then go away completely. It started to show fits and signs of improving. This also seems to have been affected by the B12 addition, but it really changed the most when I was doing 2,000 microgram injections every other day. So either I just need a lot or the results with B12 are just very inconsistent for whatever reason. I'm going to say it has to do with like bacterial production of hydrogen sulfide and things that he may or may not be eating. When I had those of you who remember when I had my MSM debacle, my methyl sulfonyl methane, which is a toxic sulfur molecule, don't ever get into that. Don't get into DMSO. Don't get into MSM unless you want to poison yourself with sulfur. I talked to this person and they did have a history of using, I forget which sulfur compound it was in the past, significantly. So the B12 is helping multiple things, but it's likely because it's antidoting something. That's my take on it. I'm all about the person getting better. Does this mean everybody needs to go out and take B12? No. If you try B12, just know that you're antidoting something. That's what it's doing. And if you want to continue it, I mean, just know, you go look up cancer and B12, and you'll find there's a lot of cancers where the people have high B12 in their blood. Don't just take B12 to take it. Go look up solid cancers and solid tumors and B12. Like you can look up, there's a lot of weird stuff with B12 and cancer. Makes me very suspicious. So I'm not saying never to do B12 is like one of the things that we talk about, like common with B vitamins. They're typically antidotes for some toxicity. So when you see improvements, other than niacin, niacin's like the detox fuel for like 400 different toxins. These other B vitamins, they help with like one toxin. Okay. One or two. So that's what we got there. So now let's go to actually, we got one question. Let me just hit on these couple of funny studies. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these. So I may just stick with the title of this one. The info, let me give you the link, Joe. There it is. So the influence of astaxanthin on the proliferation of adipose-derived mesenchymal stem cells in gelatin methacryloyal hydrogels. So astaxanthin, if you don't know, is a carotenoid. It's what makes flamingos pink from eating the shrimp, and the shrimp eat I forget what they eat exactly to get their pink color. I forget if it's not plankton. I don't remember. Sue me. Anyway, so it's like why a lot of the animals, why salmon are salmon colored. Okay, that's what astaxanthin does, and it's been promoted as a big health thing. Funny thing, a lot of the studies on astaxanthin were done by the companies that make astaxanthin. What a coincidence. Now, I want you to think about what it's saying here. Proliferation means making more. Adipose derived. What is adipose? Fat. Astaxanthin is a carotenoid. Are carotenoids fat-soluble molecules, also known as fat-storable molecules? Yes. So taking in a fat-storable molecule causes fat cells to become more in number. See what I'm saying here? I got this from Martin Ehrlich on Twitter, posted this study, and I thought it was very interesting, so I wanted to give him credit for that. But yes, we have a fat-soluble molecule causing fat-related cells to create more numbers. Where do you store fat-storable toxins or fat-soluble toxins? In your fat. If you have too many fat-storable toxins, what does your body do? It makes more storage. This is a theme. This is excess body fat. This is tumors. This is cysts. This is cancer. This is growths, lumps, and bumps. This is fibroids. This is fibrocystic disease. They are all storage tissues for toxins. So if you're out there and you've always had trouble losing body fat, you probably have a ton of, like you do, the ladies out there who say, I've done everything. If I even, this is the crazy thing. If I even look at a bad food, I gain like 5 pounds. Super toxic. That's really how that goes. And this is why, like with the people who say, well, I work with a personal trainer and I'm watching my diet and I'm doing all this stuff. First of all, you want to watch my weight loss and toxicity video, because as you lose weight and you dump toxins into your system, it kind of is like a feedback loop and it stops your weight loss because it ruins your thyroid function. So it's the toxins. You have to get rid of the toxins and then also give your body stimulus to burn off the excess fat. Okay. So one other paper I wanted to go over. Thought this paper was interesting. The effect of diet. So I've talked about before about why I believe they make adult corn so freely available. And the reason why is to weaken men specifically by causing them to lose things like their zinc, wasted zinc. They waste their zinc and then they're already copper toxic, which just tends to make men more feminine. And what we see with like polycystic ovarian disease is lots of copper and toxicity in women tends to make women more like men. Those of you who are familiar with them would understand this goal entirely. This whole like hermaphroditic kind of thing. But that is what we're seeing today. Toxicity makes men more like women and it makes women more like men. Look around. It's everywhere. So anyway, what happened when they depleted zinc on semen volume and zinc loss, serum testosterone concentrations, and sperm morphology, the shape of the sperm? So this, I don't know if I did this on the zinc and on the zinc show, because I didn't know if I did this I didn't do this on the infertility SIOP, but zinc deficiency is a huge part of the infertility SIOP. And if you didn't watch my zinc episode, that was last week. Identification of the andrological variables. This is men, basically male related. Most sensitive to zinc depletion would expedite or speed up the diagnosis of male reproductive pathology induced by zinc deficiency. Zinc is an essential mineral. Why would they not be testing this automatically? So they had these guys on different diets, different amounts of zinc in their diet. This was in a metabolic ward. This was not out on the street. Okay. So after they got 10.4 milligrams of zinc a day for a month, then they got each of these treatments in different orders. So they were randomized for these. And then they got the fifth, they got 10.4 again for 35 more days. So wow, that's what, 35 times 5. So that's like 150, 175 plus 28. That's a 200-day study. Okay. Compared with when they were consuming 10.4 milligrams zinc per day, volunteers consuming 1.4 milligrams zinc per day exhibited decreased semen volumes, so less ejaculate, and serum testosterone concentrations. This is within like months, like 28 days, 35 days, 35 days. They already saw the testosterone go down by like 20% and no change in the zinc concentrations of the semen. Okay. Pay attention, guys. Semen loss accounted for 9%, almost 10% of total body zinc loss when 1.4 milligrams of zinc per day was consumed. I don't know how often they were collecting semen from these gentlemen or having the gentleman collect it for them. 10% of total body zinc loss. Seminal phosphorus concentrations were elevated during all 4 phases of zinc depletion. I want to tell you something. Phosphorus, like other people out there like Peters and other people, will obsess about phosphorus. Phosphorus problems are zinc deficiency problems. Low alkaline phosphatase will show up. It's actually linked in the research to zinc deficiency. Low hair phosphorus is zinc deficiency. How do we fix those? You just give them zinc and they fix. Okay, phosphorus problems are zinc problems for the most part. I'm sure they could happen other ways. The findings suggest that serum testosterone concentration, semen volume, and total seminal zinc loss per ejaculate are sensitive to short-term zinc depletion in young men. Guys, I'm not saying you got to do retention for the rest of your life at all. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying especially if you don't have a partner, don't waste your zinc. And remember that kind of the poison always wins. You can always deplete your zinc faster than you can put it in. Zinc supplements are not that all that bioavailable. Neither is zinc in food. It's actually not all that bioavailable. It does get in, but it's just you don't get as much as you think. So if you are losing it every day, multiple times a day, for no purpose whatsoever, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Your recovery will not be as good. Okay. Now, if you ladies want to take the zinc supplement, then that's up to you. If you know what I mean. Okay, so let me get into the... Wait, what's going on, Joe? Why does my thing say... No. Okay, we're good. We're good. Okay, Joe's having some computer problems. Let me get to the super chat that was there, and let me bring up my questions over here. Okay, Austin, thank you for the super chat. Austin, he says, I'm at 1 gram of buffered flesh niacin a day. My flesh is very tolerable. No noticeable detox overage pushing symptoms. Is there a point to go any higher? Can't really answer that without, are you on, is 1,000 milligrams a day enough? I think so. Could you try more if you wanted to? I've told this story before. I went up to, there was a week I took 15 grams a day. And one of those days I took 20 grams. Now, I don't remember if I was buffering at that point. When I started going up on niacin, I didn't buffer. And my son, who's very sensitive, he's one of those people who is very sensitive with his smell. He was like, Dad, you smell. And I was like, what do I smell like? He's like, I don't know. And I can't remember if he said it was something like urine or something like that, because it was an ammonia smell. We realized it later. So this is why Kelsey taught everybody and teaches everybody. And we're going to have, just so you guys know, we're going to have some of the buffering charts where I'm making instructions for the website so the public can get the buffering charts too. And in the future, we will be making all of our niacin products pre-buffered, so you don't have to buffer them anymore. But anyway, Kelsey was telling me you got to buffer it or the acidity can cause issues, and then it can cause you to make too much ammonia in your body as a way of balancing out your pH. And I kind of wanted to test it because I experiment with things. And so I did. And then I started telling Kelsey what was going on. And she's like, I told you to buffer it. And I was kind of like, okay, I know. I will now. I said, I saw it. I felt it. Milo smelled it. We're fixing it. There's something that's going on. So anyway, I don't remember if I was still buffering when I did the 15 or 20 grams little experiment, but I think I probably was. And I didn't feel any better on those mega doses of niacin. Some people might want to go up to high doses at the start. I know Kelsey did a lot when she was initially recovering her health. So the only way you'll know if there's any benefit to going up is if you want to try it. I tend to do I kind of like the flush, and I kind of, I'm not a sledgehammer person, but if I do well on something, I tend to like to do more of it. I do about 2,500 milligrams of niacin a day. So if you tolerate the flush, any of you out there, if you tolerate the flush at any one level, or if the flush was strong and then all of a sudden it drops in that Gulf War veteran study, what did they do? So they'd have the flush at some level, and then when it dropped a little bit, it got a little bit better, then they would bump up their dose again. So those of you who are out there like just simmering and smoldering at some super low dose because you won't go up because you think the flush is going to get more, the flush only gets to some strength. There's only some maximum strength of flush that you can hit. Some people get stuck on this low level smoldering flush because they never go up. So they never get out of it. Like you're only like scraping off the frosting on the top of the cake. You're not really like getting down into the middle of the cake. You're just kind of scraping it off each day because you're only taking a little bit. So for that thing, if you're really flushing on low doses, you already know what a flush is. So you can try more if you choose to. So, okay. So then we have, so that's that. Is there a point to go any higher? Just experimentation, seeing if you feel better. Yeah, that's about it. You're welcome, Austin. So if anybody else has any super chats, you can post them. Otherwise, I got through those. Let me go through the chats. Well, let me just say hello to everyone who came. Let's see. Oh, Austin said my hair looks great. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. It's like super blonde right here. It kind of sucks. Like I was looking in the mirror the other day and I was like, wow, that's really blonde up there. That makes it, harder because it's brown everywhere else. But yeah, trying out new barbers is an interesting thing as at this point. So yeah, it's coming. We keep working on it. I got to decide what to do with it soon because it's getting long enough that it's starting to lean over. So I know that used to be my when I didn't cut my hair as often, when it would start to lean over, when it was long enough to lean over, that was like my cue. I was like, oh, I need a haircut. Well, when you guys have seen me doing this, I was, buzzing my head every week. So yeah, it's coming. And then I'm also working on a new hair spray, as Kelsey calls it. It's a spray. It's a water soluble spray that I'm trying to put on twice a day with the things I'm doing. I do think it's helping. One of the things I also noticed was, so I do some head massage, and a big thing is the fibrosis in the scalp that you want to break up. Since I started using the hair spray that Kelsey gave me, I think the scalp has softened up a lot, which is actually really, really important. I'll go over these things in the upcoming hair course. It's kind of cool because, like I've said before, the guy who I learned a fair bit of this stuff from said I might be cooked and I might not be able to get any back. So the fact that we're getting it back is, at my age, is pretty impressive. So anyway. Sam asks, how bad is casein? You mean the snot of the dairy world? Casein contains vitamin A. It does. It's going to contain vitamin A. It's in the structure of it. You can look it up. I've been over this research before. How bad is it? So this is a question that, if somebody's just like, well, I want to eat a Greek yogurt every day because it's high in protein. I mean, how am I going to, no one can quantify these questions. If somebody's trying to get better, and they're sick and they're like, but I got to eat my Greek yogurt so I don't lose my muscle mass. And, they may not get better. Remember, it's just it's an account. It's a deposits and withdrawals. Whatever you put in, you want what you put in to be less than you take out. So it's like you're trying to empty a bank account. We are trying to empty the vitamin A bank account. So to say, how bad is it? See, all of a sudden, if I give people permission and I say, oh, it's fine. If I say that, then all of a sudden, then you got people eating 4 Greek yogurts a day or using casein protein powder as much as they want so they can get swole. And then they say, but you said it was okay. No, I'm not taking that hit. I'm not taking that. I refuse to let my words be twisted. And I'm not saying you're going to do that, Sam. I'm saying I just refuse to do it. Casein contains vitamin A. It is the most, in my opinion, the most allergenic part of dairy. Which means it's probably got the most vitamin A in it. So, yeah, if you're going to do it, if you choose to do it, I would make it on occasion and not be trying to shove casein down your throat every day. That's what I got. So, Laura Lee asks, is cracked feet also copper toxicity? Well, I mean, vitamin A toxicity and copper toxicity are they're like this. So copper toxicity really slows down the liver. You slow down the liver, you build up more vitamin A, then you get issues. So if somebody had yellow heels, if they had a yellowish to their heels, then they're definitely vitamin A toxic in that way. So there's not, all these things work together. So just think of it. This is something I don't do. I don't just say one symptom is vitamin A toxicity. I think that's not something. If somebody has dry skin or eczema, is it only vitamin A toxicity? Well, the problem is that the liver slows down. You start building up all the toxins that the liver would normally deal with, because it'd be like, I don't know, if your toilet didn't drain enough. Each flush, if it left behind a little bit of water, a little bit more water in the toilet every time, at some point it just overflows, and then you've got issues showing up. So the problem is whatever, just okay, so think of the dive bar bathrooms you've been to, or where, concert bathrooms. Everything in the toilet that's backing up comes out. Whether that's toilet paper, whether that's number 1, number 2, whatever people are throwing down the toilet is coming back up. So that's the problem with saying that this is why we work on multiple angles of toxins all at once, is because any of them can cause a symptom. So could copper toxicity be a part of it? Sure. Well, here's the connection too. She talked about the zinc and niacin salve. Okay. So what does zinc help detox and protect you against? Copper and vitamin A. What does niacin help you detox? Vitamin A specifically. So are they all connected? Could it all be the zinc deficiency showing up because of vitamin A toxicity or copper toxicity, or both? Yes. So then we have a deficiency and toxicities all linked together. That's why we don't try to label. I've always found labeling symptoms as this means this, and then somebody else goes, well, I fixed mine by doing this, and then that proves that it wasn't just that. So yeah, try not to get into the if this, that means this. That's something. If you have a skin issue, if you have cracked heels, toxicity and deficiency, yes. The exact ones, we may never know because testing is just not there yet. Okay. Okay, sorry. Austin added he's titrated up to this dose over 9 months. So he was working on going up. A decent amount of fiber a day. Too much gives you gas, so that's good. hold back on the fiber if too much gives you gas. Also doing charcoal, following all the other love your liver principles and supplements too. Very good. Yeah, it just, I mean, remember that study I showed on flush niacin or on niacin in the diet, over 18 milligrams a day. So less than 18 milligrams a day, people had more constipation. More than 18 milligrams a day, people had less constipation. What does flush niacin help you do? It helps you make bile, helps seal up the bile holes. Just think of flush niacin and lactoferrin. They help in similar ways, but they're doing it via different pathways. Okay. So James Rogers asks, can a low protein diet have therapeutic effects in some circumstances? Sure. Yeah. There's actually something that Kelsey and I are working on that may be able to take the place of a lot of excessive protein eating that some people are doing. There may be something that we can get easily that can replace a lot of protein. And what am I saying by this? I'm doing it daily, and I'm at about 196 pounds right now, and I am the most muscular I've been, while also the leanest I've never been this lean at this heavy a weight on a day-to-day basis. So I'm not on a diet. So this thing that we are working on seems to replace a lot of protein. Now, we also have people, actually, Matthew on Twitter, Good Texture on Twitter, he's been experimenting with, he was having trouble getting his ferritin down. And he decided to go kind of basically low vitamin A vegan-ish. So beans and grains mainly. And he seems to be doing just fine. But I think his ferritin will come down. So folks, if you're out there and nothing has ever worked on your ferritin and you insist on eating red meat like 3 times a day and your ferritin won't come down, it's probably too much iron that you're bringing in. And you may just not do well with it. If you're one of those people who are like, I just don't feel that great on red meat and my ferritin's always high, you probably don't get along with red meat. So stop doing it or do a lot less of it. You may like it. You may like the taste of it, but it may not do great things for you. So we are open in this framework to people figuring out what they need. Now, I do think people, generally adults, I tell adults the minimum, so don't twist my words on this, the absolute minimum of total protein a day for an adult is 50 grams. You all would be amazed at how many ladies out there, especially guys who lift and eat meat and stuff, you would be amazed at how many ladies out there don't even get 50 grams of protein a day. And I mean from all sources. I'm including everything. If you eat an apple, there's probably a gram of protein in there. I would count that. There's a lot of people who don't even get 50 grams of protein a day. That's only half a pound of chicken or beef. Like 7 to 8 ounces. That's it. A lot of people don't get that. And then they wonder why they're not getting better. Like you need enough protein to run detox. Enough. What is that for each person? Different people have different efficiencies at this stuff. So we can't just generalize. So yeah. Could it have therapeutic effects? I don't do it as something. I mean, I don't use it specifically, but could some people benefit from it in certain circumstances? Possibly, as long as they're getting enough stuff to run detox. As I was taught in naturopathic medical school, they'll say after about 3 days of fasting, your liver has run out of the amino acids it needs to really run detox. So fasting past those 3 days, your liver doesn't have what it really needs to keep detoxing. And it makes sense because you're not putting it in. You're not putting in any toxins, but you're also not putting in the stuff your liver needs to run. So it's a trade-off. Okay, Christine Hoflick asks, Dr. Smith, what is a good cholesterol level once your body is free of excess vitamin A? Do you know Grant's current total cholesterol? I do not know Grant's current total cholesterol. I don't know how often Grant is getting his cholesterol run because he's in, China, and they don't want to run anything unless they feel the need to run something. So that's where we are out there. Like this is an arbitrary, kind of question. Do I think people should be lower than, am I going to say 200? Yeah. Some people are going to be out there and argue that, higher cholesterol in Japan in one study showed that they lived longer. I have not argued this idea. If you have a bunch of people with the same amount of toxicity, and one group of them can actually, cholesterol binds to toxins and protects you from them. Vitamin A is actually bound up in cholesterol, especially LDL and VLDL cholesterol, the bad cholesterols. They have tons of vitamin A in them. So cholesterol is there to protect you. Weird thing that vitamin A causes heart disease. And what is binding together in your arteries if you have too much of it? Cholesterol and calcium. That's why they do the coronary calcium score. Okay. So your body has to store this stuff somewhere. Where can it store cholesterol? Well, you got all these blood vessels. It could stick them to the lining and store it there for a while. People have no idea of the amount of ways that the body can store toxins to try to keep them out of the circulation. So I think Grant's cholesterol at one point was 120. And the fat lover people will be like, oh my God, he's going to die and da, 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 da. No, he's fine. He doesn't need to make a lot of cholesterol because he doesn't have as much toxicity floating around in his system. The doctor said he had the cholesterol of, I think he said a 5-year-old or an 8-year-old. Is that bad? I mean, aren't kids usually healthier than adults? They have lower cholesterol. The whole, the higher your cholesterol as an adult, that's cope by people who just want to eat tons of fat. It is. But we have a different breed of people here where we are detoxing, and then we see the cholesterol, which 80% of it's made by your liver. So if your liver says, I don't got to do so much work because you don't have as much toxicity floating around, then it just doesn't make as much. Right? I mean, what are statins trying to do? They're trying to stop the liver from making cholesterol. So I don't know. I'm going to have to get some blood work run here pretty soon. I would like to see what my cholesterol is. But we're also doing things that bind to cholesterol. It's weird that charcoal would bind to cholesterol, right? That soluble fiber would bind to cholesterol. If I tell you that cholesterol has toxins in it and charcoal binds to toxins and soluble fiber binds to toxic bile, then it starts to make sense as to why these things would lower your cholesterol. Is it because they're grabbing onto it in your gut only, or is it because they're taking the toxicity out of people so their liver doesn't have to make as much toxicity binder? So we're kind of out there. We don't have numbers yet. People are like, but the research says, and I'm like, that's research on a bunch of sick people. Saying one group lives longer than the other doesn't say that it's good. It just says that this group lives longer than the other. That doesn't mean it's good. It means it's better than the baddest or the worst. So I don't know. In the hundreds, I think is, I think below 200 is a good initial goal to get to. I was 280 at one point back in my paleo zone days. Oh, my bulletproof coffee days. And my mom's cholesterol ran about 280 too. And I've had it down, I think I was down to about 200 if I recall correctly. So, yeah. Okay. Okay. Miss Tree says, as I've related on numerous occasions, you have to be a little bit smarter than your sex organs. Yes. Guys, I'm just going to say this. If you have some internal, really strong desire to relieve yourself with corn or without it multiple times a day, your body's probably trying to get toxicity out of you. It's a toxicity thing. Your body's trying to dump What better way could your male reproductive organs get rid of toxicity other than that out of your testicles? How could they? We've had people say when they were really toxic, their semen was yellowish. It's in there. Like the toxicity is in there. And as they got less toxic, they didn't want to do that as much anymore. And things changed more towards white. And they didn't have this like tense urge to do it. There's a difference. There's like healthy libido, folks, and then there's toxic libido. We all probably know people in our past who have had a toxic libido, where they're either doing it because they have issues up here or because of toxicity. So it doesn't always shut down libido. Okay. Okay, St. Padre Pio says, I'm not a part of the Love Your Liver program, but I've been following the program for the past 6 months and have made an incredible transformation so far. Well, congratulations. That's what we're trying to do. Achilles said a very generous thing. You are wonderful, Dr. Detective. Dr. Detective, I like that. I haven't been called that yet. You're welcome. You're welcome. Austin said it makes sense. John Dickinson, thank you for the super chat. Johnny says, when will the Nutrition Detective Zeolite article come out? I am working on it today. Hopefully I'll have some time today. So, okay, Christina Sophia says, I don't mind flushing, but I get dry skin, which doesn't seem like a good thing. What is the cause of that? So flush niacin when it is, so, okay, I want you to think about this. Think about a sunburn, right? Like think about the process of a sunburn, right? You go out in the sun, you get burned, then you're red for 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, and then it starts getting dry and peeling and flaking off, right? Think of, so that is the sun helps to detox, oxidize toxins in your skin, particularly retinoids and carotenoids, helps to break them down. Now, the problem is, don't take this as like an endorsement to just go and lay out in the sun a ton and damage your skin, okay? You have like, there's good and bad here. If you push it too hard, like you can damage, you're oxidizing these toxins and they can get stuck in your skin. And then you have what looks like sun damage because you've like char grilled these toxins and they're stuck in your skin. So we're not trying to do that. So don't get too, I will say this. Sometimes I think a lot of the health influencers on Twitter and elsewhere on the internet, the only reason that they're able to get away with their high vitamin A diet is because they're in the sun so much. That's the thing that's literally saving their butt. I would see tons of people who got tons of sun. Like I had a period of time in my practice where I had tons of like athletic type people who were really about getting sun and outside and all that stuff. And they would always have super high calcium. And they didn't feel that bad. And I was always confused. I was like, how do they get away with this? And then I realized later it's the immense amount of sun that they get. So a lot of your people, like, Liver King's falling apart as we speak. Some of these other influencers, I saw one guy on Twitter the other day asking for help with a particular issue that he had, probably related to his Accutane use in the past. And he's out in the sun all the time. And he just talks about how he gets so much sun and all this stuff, but yet he's still complaining of significant health issues. And what happens, I think, to a lot of these people is, let's say these influencers all of a sudden have to get a normal job. They have to go do something more normal and they work inside. They're not able to sit outside on their laptop frying their genitals with their EMF all day long. So they go inside, they go live a more normal life. And then all of a sudden, because they're not getting their sun, this is when all the stuff hits the fan, because their one detox avenue that they did a lot of is gone. So watch your favorite influencers when they suddenly stop getting outside so much. Like maybe that happened to Liver King too. I mean, he's just red as a beet. His liver was so toast. So anyway, but the dry skin is that can happen. Now, one thing you could do, Christina, with that dry skin thing. Oh, so remember the sunburn, but it turns into dry skin. That's the redness of the skin. You have the redness of the flush, and then you've got a little bit of the dry skin, which is just like the sunburn where desquamation or peeling happens afterwards. So all I would suggest you do is if the dry skin issue will go away. It will pass over time. But if you wanted to, for now, I would just cut your dose down to where you're not having that issue with it. That's all. It hurts when I do this, doc, then don't do that. So what is the cause of it? It's the detox process. I actually think it may be. So my theory on this, so we tend to store vitamin A compounds, carotenoids, retinol as fatty acid ester. They're bound to fatty acid esters. So there are carotenoid esters in your skin. There are retinol or retinil esters in your skin. There are actually retinaldehyde esters too. So, but mostly we store them as retinol and carotenoids. So when the sun oxidizes these things, and you've heard me talk about aldehydes a lot, and ALDH. If your ALDH and your other aldehyde pathways are not working well enough, you start oxidizing all these alcohols, the carotenoids, which are terpenoids anyway, carotenoids and retinol, they start oxidizing into aldehydes. And if your ALDH cannot clear them, it gets stuck as an aldehyde. It stays as an aldehyde. And then eventually over time, the bottleneck finally, just like if you're pulling up to a merge on the road, you will eventually get through the merge, but you're going to wait a while. So think of the sunburn redness time as that merging until finally the aldehydes move into the acid stage, like retinoic acid. I think that dryness, so remember, the niacin is processing alcohols into aldehydes and into acids. I think the dryness of the skin is actually moving from the aldehydes to the acids, and it's just part of the process. So if you want less of that, you just do less. You still need to do it all. It still needs to be processed, but you don't have to do it to an extent that you're getting an obvious symptom. Does that make sense? So, okay. S asks, does zinc help with eliminating candida as well? Yes, the three big, here's the funny thing, the three big antifungal, anti-yeast minerals. You guys will know these very well. Selenium, zinc, molybdenum. Those are the three major antifungal minerals. They are all present in keystone minerals. Whether you get the one with niacin in it bound to the zinc, we have zinc niacinate in one of them, so it has zinc and niacin, or we have one that is zinc picolinate, so it doesn't have the niacin in it if you don't want to flush. But yes, does zinc help with? Yes, absolutely, yes. And flush niacin helps with candida and yeast as well. Yeah, we have a paper on that. Okay. John asks, how bad are olives as a summer snack? I don't know. I keep trying. I used to try olives and I'd be like, maybe they'll work out for me. And then I just always was kind of like, they don't feel that good to me. And then the fact that the way they have to be processed so you can eat them, it's kind of sketchy to me. So up to you. How bad are they? If you're eating whole olives, probably not that bad, but probably not great to just be like eating bowls full. So that's what I got on that. Bashful Fest says, moreover, what causes a craving for olives? Generally, when you have a craving for, addictions are toxins. So a craving, you would want to think about what is it about the food that you like or that you are craving. So like the common thing is when I have people who are like, I'm craving ice cream. I'm like, you're not eating enough. You're simply not eating enough. That's why you're craving like the most calorie dense food out there that you could get. You need to eat more food and that will make that go away. Like, it's just fat and sugar, right? It's like just calories upon calories. So there's some of those things are easy. If you start going, well, I always want potato chips, and it might be so it could be, it's not, the craving, the crispiness that's not it. Could be salt, could be starch and oil. Funny thing, starch and oil would be like a super high calorie combination, kind of like ice cream. Probably not eating enough. Now, olives are not high calorie. So then you want to think about what is in the olives that you like. If you kind of have like a vinegar thing, that's probably part of it. If it's just a salt thing, that may be part of it. But try to think of the quality. What is the quality of the olives that you could compare to other foods that you like, that you want? And if you don't want to eat olives, you want to find something better, then you'd want to find something that has that quality. So that's what I got on that. Thoughts on taking branched chain amino acids? Eat more protein. Eat more meat. Oh, Nose Chain says, looking like Sting there, buddy. Great work. Oh, wait. Hold on. Did it switch my audio thing again? It did. What is with this? Why does it keep switching my audio? At least it puts up an alert. Oh, here it is. Gabe Munoz asks, if someone who is electrosensitive feels 90% better with daily celery juice, is that just suppressing symptoms? I mean, how much celery juice are we talking? Gabriella. I'm sorry, Gabriella. I saw Gabriel. Sorry about that. It looks like my Zoom got kind of weird all of a sudden again. So could it, okay, so there is, I forget the, let me go see if I can look it up. There is something in celery called mannitol dehydrogenase. I thought there was some other. There it is. Glyceraldehyde 3P dehydrogenase. So it's not aldehyde. It's not specifically aldehyde dehydrogenase, but it's glyceraldehyde 3P dehydrogenase. Let me see. Joe, let me show this real quick. Anyway, I'll post it, Joe. So there's just this glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase in celery leaves. There's the mannitol dehydrogenase. So there just may be some enzymes in celery juice that are helping people. Could it be suppressing things? Possibly. Is it relatively, is it low vitamin A? Yeah, but if you're juicing and you're taking in like a stalk worth of celery that you never would, or 2 stalks that you never would otherwise, that you may be creeping up there, right? Because it's the dose keeps growing. So let's see. Yeah, so there may be some detox enzymes in celery juice. The thing I just heard a lot about the celery juice fad was the diarrhea that it could induce was quite explosive. That's what I heard about the celery thing. So, but could it help? Sure. Is it suppressing stuff? I can't say, but there is that glyceraldehyde dehydrogenase in there that might be helping something. It's just, you're just taking a detox enzyme. But it's specifically named glyceraldehyde because it may only work on glyceraldehyde, which is one of the things that sugar can turn into. Also, glycerol can turn into it. Glycerin can turn into glyceraldehyde. That's one of the reasons we try not to use it in any of our products. Let's see. Let me pull up my the chats again. Okay. John Dickinson says, definitely healthy and toxic libidos out there. I've come to know them well. Yeah. Dycliffe asks, is there any study you can reference that shows when male testosterone peaks when abstaining? Is there a certain day marker? I'm sure it's out there. I haven't looked for it. It's been said by some out there that the best returns on if one was trying to produce as much ejaculate as possible, that you are supposed to go 3 days between. That's like the shortest amount of time that gives you the most benefit. That's what I know about that. Other than in terms of testosterone peaking and all that stuff, man, the idea like libido and testosterone are not as connected as people think. If you have a guy with low testosterone and you put an attractive woman in front of him who is interested in him, he's going to act just fine like his testosterone is much better than it might test. Yeah, motivation and opportunity can shift libido a lot. So, yeah, I don't know. Have I heard of the Holy Grail 7 protocol from the Ray Peat forum? Is V-Red Chasing says that. Is that Heisenberg's nonsense? I haven't heard of it. I don't go slumming, so I don't go to the Ray Peat forum. That's the Ray Peat forum is it used to be, they changed it to the low toxin forum because they're ripping off my work. That's what they're doing. So it's hilarious that they are ripping off my work, and yet they go there and they just want to say mean things about me, because that's what those type of people do, I guess, when you're living in your parents' basement and you're unemployed and you have to come after me because I don't like their children's nutrition framework. That's hi, Peters. No, I have not heard of the Holy Grail 7 protocol, but if it's Heisenberg stuff, if you would like to ruin your liver and gallbladder, go ahead and do Heisenberg's, whatever they're calling it these days. Go ahead and do it. I will chuckle when your liver or your gallbladder is absolutely tanked. It is nonsense. I don't even think Heisenberg exists. People have shown evidence that he may just be a bot. He may be an AI, just taking everybody for a run. Wouldn't that be? Anyway. James Rogers says that thanks. I love the flexibility or adaptability of this nutritional framework. That is the point. Yes, that is. Do a kickflip says, I'm unable to go in the sun. My skin flares up from just like 20 minutes out in the sun. Why? Because you're really toxic in your skin. I would bet that if you did flush niacin, you would flush really hard. You have a lot of toxins in your skin. That's what that means. Like when somebody puts on the zinc and niacin salve and they flush from it, they are really toxic. They used up all that niacin and they got stuck in the middle of that detox. So what you should do, kickflip for short, only get the amount. Okay, so this is for anybody. Only, did the sound go again, Joe? Should be all right. Joe, let me know if the sound's okay. Or if it's just on, I don't know what's going on with this new, no sound. Can somebody in the chat tell me if you can hear my sound? Sound is fine. Okay, great. Joe, strange things happening today. We will carry on. So yeah, do a kickflip with the sun thing. You just want to, let me explain that. Okay. So certain toxins, when they're stored, but why does your body store a toxin in a certain form? Because it's less toxic. It's trying to get it out of the blood, put it somewhere, and it would want to put it in a less toxic form. So like retinol is less toxic than retinaldehyde, and carotenoids are less toxic than retinol. What happens when people eat too much carotenoids, like red palm oil or carrot juice or whatever? Their skin starts to turn yellowish or orangish. Why is that? Because the body wants to store the least toxic form So it puts the carotenoids in the skin. That's why it puts them there. Partially because also those are exposed to the sun, which then oxidize them. So as you oxidize carotenoids and retinoids, they become more toxic as they go. So if you go get a bunch of sun and you're really toxic, it starts oxidizing it, which is part of the detox pathway. This is the part that blows people's minds. It's the detox pathway, but as you go along each step, it actually becomes more toxic. And then people ask me, well, why are we designed that way? I don't know. I didn't do the designing. Maybe someday I'll get to have a chat with God about it. I'll be like, bro, why? I don't know. But that's you. So you want to get my rule on sun or UVB, like spurty lamps or tanning lamps or whatever, is your dose at any one time is the amount of time and intensity that you can handle without feeling like crap afterwards. You know, all of us know that if you go out in the sun too long, and especially like if you got, you know, your swimming outfit on, so you got maximum skin exposed and you're out in the sun too long, it kicks your butt, right? It can make you feel terrible for days. That's what I'm talking about. So if you were saying you go out in the sun for 20 minutes and that's too long, then maybe you just do 10. Maybe you just do 5. So I don't want you to feel worse after it. Then if you're not feeling worse after it, you're doing a level of kind of detoxing it that you can handle. And then the other thing is we don't want to see negative skin changes. If you're noticing your skin changing in a way that you don't like, you're starting to see some more spots or whatever, you're doing too much. You still have too much toxicity in your skin that you're like charbroiling. Don't do that. So if you're seeing negative skin changes or you're seeing like feeling like crap after it, you did too much, do less. That's it. Or take longer between. As you get less toxic, you will tolerate more. So that's that. Christina Sophia says, so if I take more niacin, can I get the toxins out faster and get over the dryness faster theoretically? Yes, but that's also a little bit of an FAFO. If you take more niacin, the skin dryness could get a little worse, but it should go away sooner. And then somebody says, well, how long will that take? And I say, I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. If you got to the place where you weren't flushing, that would probably be pretty close to where the dryness might stop. So it might just take a bigger dose. But if that doesn't work, then you just got to go down to the dose that you tolerate. Yeah. Okay. JJ Hempcrete Bear, nice name, says, hi, doctor. I just learned about Love Your Liver a few months ago from my girlfriend. I love my liver and your research agrees with a lot of what I have researched. Great to see a live stream and say hi to you. Well, hello to you too. Glad to have you here. Always good to have people live. Yeah, so that's fun. Joe said athletes breathe more. That's another way to detox. Okay. Yes, to oxidize things, it's always good to have lots of oxygen. If you guys go and watch that weight loss and toxicity episode, they talk about people exercising and oxidizing and breaking down some of these toxins that are stored in the fat, the so-called organic toxins. Not by organic like they're in organic food, as in their carbons and hydrogens and oxygens, like the forever chemicals, stuff like that. So you can oxidize these things. Like you want to breathe well. One of the first things we talk about in the program is breathing. And how if you're not breathing right, like you are getting rid of aldehydes all the time. Okay. You can get rid of them through your breath. So if you breathe better or if you breathe more, you could get out more of them that way. So just think of this as like, okay, we tend to generalize, and I see this it's kind of a cliche, but I think it's true. People who live by the ocean tend to be healthier. Well, what do people tend to do by the ocean? They tend to be out in the sun more. They're probably doing a bit more grounding type stuff. They're breathing, humid air, which is good for your lungs and all that stuff, but they're doing lots of things that are generally healthy. And I would say they tend to be more active. And so they're doing lots of things that help to detox them. So if you're doing the opposite of those things, you're not moving your body, you're not getting sun, all these things, you're living in heated, climate control place all the time where it's all dry air and you're drying yourself out. These things are the opposite of what might happen on a beach town. You can always go pay Jack Cruz $1,000 to tell you to move down by the equator. That's a fun little consult that you could do that I've heard about. That's seriously what I've heard it is. You pay $1,000 to have him basically tell you need to move down by the equator. Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Uncle Jack. Helpful. Really helpful. Boy, I'm just throwing out the hits today, aren't I? But yeah, breathing, you need to walk. If you can't walk yet, if you're so sick you can't walk, you can get a vibration board. You could get a rebounder. And when I say a rebounder, like those little trampolines, like you're just, it doesn't mean you have to leave the air. You can just, so it's just bouncing. Doesn't mean you're jumping. You understand the difference between just kind of bobbing up and down on it and jumping? Like you can just bob up and down. It helps move your lymph. One of the things exercise does is it could get your breathing up. So you're processing more toxins, you're oxidizing more toxins that way, but it also helps to move the lymph, which was another question we'll get to in a sec. Okay, Austin said, I also get the dry skin. Christina, mind you, I've always had dry skin due to Hashimoto's, but worse when on niacin. Physical exfoliation in the shower helps me quite a bit. Yeah, it will pass. I used to get it too, and it doesn't happen anymore. So, Bashful Fest says, poor Liver King. Actually, there's a great guy on YouTube, John Bravo. You should go watch his exposés on these health influencers. Apparently, Liver King has always been a scammer. Like he has a criminal history, or where he talked about the things he did. He's not a nice person. He's not a good person. So karma is a bitch, as they say. And, doing things like ayahuasca and letting the demons in will also cause problems. And then eating tons of liver and doing tons of performance enhancing drugs. And sometimes it almost seems like he was trying to, it was real FAFO. Find out how long you can last before it makes you go literally crazy. Between the copper toxicity and the vitamin A toxicity and the drugs, it's bad. So, but we could tell this years ago. Oh man. I said on Twitter, people were like, how can the Liver King do this to himself? How can he eat all this liver? And I said, just wait. Just wait. We don't have to do anything. Just wait. It'll all come crashing down. And here we are. So that's why sometimes when people want to argue with me on Twitter, or they're doing something bad, and I just say, I'll just wait. I don't have to do anything. The poison will get you. That's how it works. So. Oh, yes. Yeah. Miss Tree says the king seems as though he's been smurfing with the toilet sanitizer, the porta potty dye. Yes. He's been seen on multiple videos with a blue tongue. So yes, he is also doing methylene blue, which is, it may be, it is a drug. It is a pharmaceutical. It is a stimulant. It is an antipsychotic and an antidepressant by the very nature of the compound that it is. So where would he be if he wasn't taking his antipsychotic? I don't know. Saladino too. Saladino used to be business partners with Liver King. They apparently split when Liver King they didn't split until Liver King was caught doing PEDs. That's when they split, because it was a PR nightmare. As if anybody couldn't tell that he's juiced to the gills. Oh my gosh. Anyway. Clive Hampshire asks, does excess vitamin A cause dysregulation of body temperature? Is that why so many people get too hot in summer weather nowadays? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, it causes dysregulation. Yes. Excess sensitivity to heat excess sensitivity to the sun, whether it's your skin or your eyes, those are very, very good symptoms of vitamin A toxicity. Now, is everybody going to have those? No. Could they still be vitamin A toxic and not have those symptoms? Sure. Most people with vitamin A toxicity are going to have the sensitive eyes. Why do you think everybody has to wear sunglasses all the time? Because their eyes hurt when they're in the sun. And they're basically charbroiling the toxins in their eye, and their body's saying, stop being out in this bright light. And so what do? They get sunglasses. But yeah, the whole heat stroke, heat exhaustion. Actually, I did an article on this on the old research forum about heat stroke and heat exhaustion. Yes, it absolutely plays a role in people being so sensitive to the heat. Yes. We have actually, wasn't that just in, let me see. I think that was in the wasn't it in this testimonial? Oh no, he was saying moderate exertion. Yeah, sorry. Oh wait, there it is. No, here it is. Let me show this, Joe. So just as, proof, if you will. So these are things that were improving or were getting intermittent, so they weren't happening all the time. Trouble focusing his eyes, disorientation with hard cardio, heat, or exertion. This has been massively improving lately since getting on B12. Well, we talked about the hydrogen sulfide and stuff like that. And how you've heard the saying hot garbage? What does garbage smell like? Mainly sulfur, hydrogen sulfide, rotten eggs. What a weird coincidence that he's B12, hydrogen sulfide, taking some B12 and seeing symptoms, multiple symptoms throughout his body getting better. So yeah. But yeah, vitamin A and heat intolerance absolutely go together. So let me get to, where were we? Oh, S said, thanks, Doc. Oh, Joe, yeah, I got my Telegram open. Let me see. Fernando Espin is saying, how important is lymph movement? I heard about that around 2018, but never gave it much thought. Okay, so Gabriella was doing 1/2 to 1 head of celery per day. I mean, Gabriella, if it's helping, that's fine. I mean, I'm not that worried about celery juice. I don't see it as causing a big problem either way. I think it seems to me, here's the tell though. It seems to me that almost everybody who does it eventually quits. If it was so wonderful, why don't they stay on it? It's kind of like cold plunging. Everybody got into cold plunging and nobody sticks with it. Why? Because their body's telling them, stop doing this nonsense. So celery juice may be the same way, or it's too much of a pain in the ass to clean the juicer. That's a part of it. That's why I stopped. I juiced like twice in my life and I was like, screw this. I'm not doing this. This is dumb. It was just the cleaning. I was like, I'm not going to do this cleaning. So about the lymph. Okay. Well, I've talked about this before. How important is lymph movement? It just makes things work better. Like moving your lymph doesn't detox anything per se. Nothing left, but moving it is that's like the sewer system. So you can imagine, if you think of the lymph as the sewer system, if your sewer system is blocked, things aren't moving away from where they should. Does that make sense? So generally exercise, any kind of exercise where you are moving up and down against gravity so that you're hitting the ground, like walking, trampoline, rebounding, jump rope, running, anything where there's some impact. And even though rebounding doesn't have a lot of impact, there's still that change of direction, that sudden change of direction that the trampoline does for you. So those things, this is why cardio, like let's say you see guys in the gym, like powerlifters who never do any cardio and they're just like, nothing's moving. Like they refuse to do cardio. And so their sewer system probably just, well, I mean, they're eating tons of crap too, usually, and maybe injecting things they shouldn't be. And it's a bad recipe like Liver King. And you see them and they look like it because they're all puffy and red. Anyway, moving the lymph is very helpful. So if you can't exercise yet, because see, we deal with people to the point of where they're like practically disabled and they're not doing much of anything. So I'm going to start low. Like, so we're talking like, if you can't do exercise, look up Perry Nicholson's Big Six. You can find it on stopchasingpain.com. That's his website. So the Big Six is just some tapping and rubbing of different areas that are key for your lymph movement. It takes like 5 minutes. You should do that daily if you can. Then there's some people have gotten a vibration plate. So there's these vibration plates that, they're just vibrating really fast that you stand on, and that is moving your lymph. Then you could get into, rebounding or trampolining. But again, you're not necessarily having to jump. You're not leaving the thing. You understand? It's just like the bobbing on the trampoline surface. Then as you get better, then you can get into walking. And then you can start combining walking with getting some sun. And then you can still go like my mom does her workouts with her trainer, but she'll go outside and sit in the sun because she's not able to walk long enough to be outside and get the sun here when it's like, I think they said tomorrow it's supposed to be like 111. So yeah, sending my 79-year-old mom out in the 111 heat is not going to be something I'm going to do just so she can get sun. She tries to go and sit out in the morning. But so the sun and then the lymph movement, like we as humans are designed for movement. So if you're so sick that you can't move, then you need to move the stuff, for yourself. Okay. Whether that could be swimming as an exercise, just something that is exercise moves your lymph. Your muscles contracting moves your lymph. So if you can't do it because you're too wrecked still, do something to move your lymph. The Big Six is a really good place to start. And so is a vibration plate if you can't do exercise. Otherwise, exercise, some sort of cardio exercise where you're doing it for a duration is going to be much better than simply, if you're doing weight training, sure, you might contract your muscles hard, but you don't do it that many times. And you also don't have a lot of gravity helping. Hold on. Okay. Where is it? Let me see. Bonjo, I don't see your Soil Food Web Warrior added. So he said, the processing of olives with lye or they are too bitter to eat seems weird. I don't like the idea of processing them with lye. Just kind of, lye is just sodium hydroxide, but still, the fact that they're not edible on their own is kind of sketchy to me. So let me see. Let's move this up. There we go. I want to find Joe. Can you help me find Bonjo's? Bonjo sent a super chat, and I'm trying to find it. There it is. Wait, no. Bonjo, you say you already asked it in chat, but I can't find it anywhere. Could you just post it again at the bottom? Okay. Do I have any tips for dandruff? I'm having some problems with it. Despite taking the minerals, it doesn't get better. Everything is getting better, but this. That's kind of a... dandruff can take a while to go away. Dandruff's a tough one. So Specific stuff. You could make the niacin spray that Kelsey talks about in the Love Your Liver program. I think she talks about the niacin spray. I think she gives the recipe. You could do that. You could try to get more light to your scalp. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things that, like, so my story of dandruff was actually one of my earliest kind of nutrition detective. If you wanted to see a sign of me doing this later, was I had dandruff and I had tinea versicolor, which is a skin fungus. So I used to, and I had athlete's foot multiple times. I had lots of trouble with skin fungus. And so what I did was I ended up, well, I learned about the dermatologist. First, he gave me ketoconazole orally, which got rid of it, probably damaged my testosterone production for years, decades after that. I didn't want to do that again. He gave me a ketoconazole shampoo, and I was like, I'm not going to rub this on and leave it on for like 5 to 20 minutes to do its black magic or whatever the crap it's doing. So then I looked online, and they were saying, oh, you could do like Head and Shoulders or Selsun Blue. Well, what's Selsun Blue? What's the active ingredient? Selenium. Selsun Blue, selenium. And then what's the active ingredient in Head and Shoulders? Zinc. So people would say, oh, just rub this, like when you're not in the shower, just rub this on the area and leave it on for like 20, 30 minutes and then wash it off. I was like, I'm not going to do that. My brain started going, well, okay, they're basically this was the first transdermal thoughts I had too. I was like, they're basically supplementing the skin with zinc or selenium. So does that mean that if these work to get rid of this skin problem, that I have a zinc or a selenium deficiency? I thought, well, it's worth a try. So what I looked up was, I looked up the maximum dose of selenium that I could do. I chose to do selenium. And there were doses that you could do for a short period of time. I don't like talking about them here. Well, I'll talk about the doses, but I'm not your doctor. I'm not suggesting you do this. Any choices you make upon watching this show and hearing me describe this are completely on you. So the doses were up to 600 micrograms a day for a short period of time, like a month or 6 weeks or something like that, or 8 weeks. And then I said up to 400 for like more months than that. And then 200 micrograms was the normal, like, long-term dose, which was pretty much what we do. We do 150 micrograms in our supplement. So I did something like that. I did 600 micrograms for a month, and I did 400 micrograms for 2 months, I believe, after that. And then I went down to 200. And after I did that, the dandruff and the tinea versicolor went away. So I did some short-term high dosing to refill my stores, and that passed. So that's something you could do. You could also, I mean, if you got some, well, we're working on 2 more of the liquid minerals right now, but, yeah. Dang it. So you could look into that magical 3-letter universal antidote thing, and apply that topically. So yeah, so we have figured out that if we go and remove these mistakes right afterwards, then we don't get docked. So this may not show up as a live stream later, because once you edit it, it shows up as a video. So, but that would, if you wanted to go after it topically with something, that would be something that you could do. Okay. Yeah, Bonjo was talking about he went higher. I think if you stick at those doses, Bonjo, then it will eventually work out. But if you want to go and attack it with something, whether that might be something colloidal, or something something like borine trioxide or something like that, then you might rhyming here. That might be oh, Bonjo, I'm not messing with the stream for you. I'm messing with the stream for everybody else. So it stays up. That's what I'm doing. So, okay. So I think we're going to wrap up here pretty soon. Okay. Christina Sophia was just giving a little comment here. The Big Six lymph opening method really seems to move a lot of stuff out. Remember, it can start some detox, right? If you're unclog, thinking of that video on that reel on Instagram where there's that like blocked sewer and they're like, chunking it out. And then all of a sudden it just shoots out. It looks like something shooting out of a sewer. But that was, if you suddenly unclog your sewer system, you might not feel very good, but just know that that's going to go away. Like you want to keep that stuff moving. So just know you might do the Big Six. Okay. So here's an important tip on the Big Six. Like he says to do 10 of each, the tapping and the rubbing. Okay. Let's say you're really sensitive and you know you're really toxic and you're like, oh, Dr. Smith said I might have like a detox reaction. Okay. There are 6 things to do. Don't do like number 1 and not do the other ones. Do a little bit of all 6 in the right order. I had somebody who I found this out because somebody made that mistake. They were like, well, I only tried doing the first 2 and I kind of got this. I like felt bad. You kind of started moving things, but they got stuck. So if you wanted to do 1 rep of each of the 6 things, that's better than doing 6 reps of only the first one. And definitely don't start at the back end and go the other way. Go the right order, do the right spots, and then if you want to do less of all 6 in the right order. Don't do 1 or 2 and then skip the rest of them. Okay. So, Bashful Fest asked, are new freckles after sun exposure a bad sign? I'd say that you're probably doing too much. Yeah. Oh, Mohammed Shadab said, I drank a lot of celery before joining Love Your Liver. I would not want to drink it. It made him worse. Oh, V-Red Chasing says, yes, the Heisenberg protocol. I got together stuff for an entire thread on that protocol, just destroying it. Like the biotin dosing that they're talking about, biotin caused structural changes in the liver. It didn't show up in the liver enzymes, but it actually caused literal structural changes to the liver cells, bad changes. That entire protocol is a disaster. We've already had several people come and say, yeah, that kind of screwed me up. Those molybdenum doses, molybdenum can be, okay, folks, you can overdo selenium, you can overdo molybdenum, you can overdo zinc. I will never say otherwise. They're over there taking milligram doses, multi-milligram doses of zinc a day, some of these people. You go and look up what megadosing molybdenum could potentially do in the literature, and liver and gallbladder problems, like major liver problems, are there. I kind of thought of an analogy to this the other day. So think of like soup, right? Like think of the amount of salt in soup. You want the soup to be just right? So you put the right amount of salt in it. Now, if you don't put enough salt in it, it's not terrible, but it doesn't taste good. Like you're kind of like, eh. But if you put too much salt in it, it can actually become like inedible. It's almost like not painful to eat, but it's difficult to eat because your body's like rejecting it. So think of taking minerals. Like you take too much of a mineral, you can cause problems. Absolutely. Just like you can ruin soup by putting way too much salt in it. And people but salt's good for you. Well, you can ruin a soup you don't want to eat it because your body says this is too much. These folks, oh, that Heisenberg protocol with their all his little symptoms of, that is the most made up BS I've ever heard. Like, oh, when you have this little symptom, you need more of this one. And it's like, sprinkle some of this in there and sprinkle some of that in there. And they sure are having a lot of symptoms for something that's supposed to be helping them. And it sure seems like a really delicate balance that they have to like tweak these little doses. No, that is a very, very, very bad sign that when they rip off the Band-Aid, or when somebody wants to get off of it, what about when somebody stops self-medicating with all these supplements? It's going to go really bad. And first of all, where is this Heisenberg guy? Why is he in a non? People are literally taking advice from a guy who's never been seen. Don't listen to anons, folks. And now in the days of AI, you probably should. I don't even know what you can believe. Somebody's probably going to take my voice and make fake videos of me. They could do that now. Emma added low potassium and magnesium cause EMF sensitivity. They are part of it. And celery juice might be replenishing those minerals. Yeah, I mean, definitely magnesium, potassium are very, very important. What could it be helping? Could be helping all sorts of things. Could be suppressing things. Could be doing both at the same time. So, okay. Transient asks, what is the mucus that develops during flu/hay fever season? Vitamin A. It's your body. Okay, so we'll think of especially hay fever, right? What color's hay? It's kind of yellow. What color's pollen? Yellowish, orangish. Think of this as if it's, so you make mucus to catch these things going up your nose, these toxins going up your nose. Because if your mucus catches them, a toxin that never comes in doesn't have to be detoxed. So if you're getting it all caught in your sinuses and you're blowing your nose all the time, your eyes are watering, they're trying to wash it out. You know, you're spitting, you're coughing up phlegm, you know, like I said, blowing your nose, sneezing. What is sneezing? Sneezing is a forceful ejection of stuff in your breathing passageways. Like that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to knock stuff loose. So all these signs are your body trying to push out this toxin or to not let it in. So that's basically what it is. It's a form of vitamin A and polyphenols that your body is trying to keep out. And then the stuff that's getting in, your body's saying, oh crap, get this out. So the strange thing is the toxin doesn't change, right? So I live here and I don't get seasonal allergies anymore. I watched my dad suffer with seasonal allergies the whole time I was here. I used to have them myself. I don't have them anymore. So did the toxin change or did my body's response to the toxin change? Well, I think we know what it is. I'm less toxic, so my body doesn't have to freak out as bad. The more toxic your body is, the more your body has to freak out to tell you to get away from it. Or like the people who go down the laundry detergent aisle at the grocery store and they can't handle it. They start getting headaches and they start getting brain fog and oh my God, get me out of here. Your body's telling you, get the heck out of here. Because it can't stop you from breathing, right? These are not, pollen's actually in the air that your mucus could grab onto. Scents, there's nothing to protect you. You're going to breathe them in. If you want to breathe and keep living, then you're going to breathe them in. So, okay. Sorry, do a kickflip who asked about the sun stuff. He said, my skin is my most problematic issue. I have eczema and I feel like most of my toxins are in my skin, if that makes sense. That makes absolute sense. That's why you're so sensitive to the sun, is because it starts detoxing you too fast. Yeah. Okay, well, it's 12:05. I'm going to wrap it up. 12:05 here in good old Tucson, where it's going to be nice and warm today. So I'm going to get going. I got to go do my inner circle. Hope you all enjoyed that episode. Yeah, like I said, I'm working on the zeolite stuff. Don't email Julie. Oh, wait, we got a super chat from Sergio. Sorry. Thank you for that, Sergio. I don't know how to say that. It's got a U at the end. I'm used to Sergio, but Austin said, thanks always, Dr. Detective. You've helped me a ton. You're very welcome. So Sergio says, hey doc, when I take maybe 80 to 100 micrograms of selenium, I get bad breath from it. Does it trigger some sort of detox? Thank you. Well, okay, so let's hit on that. First, the easiest thing would be, right? Doc, it hurts when I do this. Well, then don't do that. So if you get some sort of bad breath from selenium, then you get to decide whether you want to keep doing it. Now, the other thing, Sergio, is do you know if you're sensitive to sulfur? That's the first question. And then if the other thing you could answer in the chat would be, what type of what type of selenium is it? What type of selenium is it? Selenomethionine? Is it yeast-bound selenium? Is it like, what kind of selenium is it? Oh, Sergio says he's very sensitive to sulfur. There we have it. Okay. Yes. So I'm guessing you have selenomethionine, Sergio, which methionine is a sulfur-containing amino acid. So I would suggest that if it were me, I would try to get a different type of selenium, maybe selenium glycinate. That's what we use in our supplements. You can hopefully find that. Yeah, you're probably just having a sulfur response. If you guys don't know, bad breath is mostly sulfur. You might want to watch my body odor, how to fix body odor with nutrition video on this channel. If you have body odor problems, most of your body odor problems are sulfur. How can you fix your body odor? Stop eating so much sulfur. Stop taking it in supplements. It comes out of you. It smells like onions. It smells like garlic. It smells like bad breath. Bad breath, you can go look up bad breath research. They look at 2 sulfur compounds a lot: hydrogen sulfide and dimercaptan. Wow, the main 2 things that they measure bad breath with are both sulfur compounds. What a crazy coincidence. So you take selenium glycinate. Okay, so you take selenium glycinate, so it's not a sulfur thing. It's not a sulfur that you're taking. Okay. Other than the bad breath, Sergio, do you feel better from the selenium? Oh, Sergio says he cannot eat anything with sulfur. It F's him up real bad. Joe put up the link for the body odor post, but yes, Sergio, if you can just answer that. So with selenium glycinate, with selenium, we have 2 things here. One, Sergio, you might want to think about, have you done okay with, if you've taken other glycinate supplements, magnesium glycinate, molybdenum glycinate. Glycine is very high in collagen. Glycine is very high in gelatin. Obviously, glycine can be high in glycine powder or glycine pills. So some people have real problems with glycine. I may go over in the next live stream about my recent experience with collagen and gelatin and why I'm never messing with that again. And also my buddy told me that he started taking it and he suddenly felt so much better. Well, I think we'll hit on that next time. But so it could be, so always remember, when you take a supplement, there's 2 parts to it. There's the like selenium, let's say the mineral, and then there's the chelate, or the thing that it's bound to, like glycinate. Glycine is the glycinate. So you can always react to either one of those. That's why if you try a different form of selenium, it might work. So what you could try, Sergio, is you could try different seleniums. You could even try selenomethionine. I mean, you don't do well with sulfur, but you could try selenomethionine just for the heck of it. It's super easy to get and cheap. But it might just be the selenium doing something. So then I would go by, so the bad breath thing could be a temporary thing. If you felt worse with the selenium and you got bad breath, that would be not a good sign. But if you had the selenium and you got the bad breath, but you felt better in other ways, then that might be a good sign. Now, I did have somebody, we very rarely have people who, like, I had one guy, he would take selenium. He said his hair would start falling out. Okay, don't do that. He would take molybdenum. He said his hair started falling out. I was like, okay, don't do that. He'd take zinc. He says hair started falling out. I'm like, okay, don't do that. And I was like, okay. He said, what do I do? I said, you just don't take anything for now. You just don't. He's like, okay. And I said, as we get you better, as we make sure you eat enough protein, then you'll maybe be able to take them later. It's likely it might not happen. Okay, so Sergio says he feels okay with selenium. It doesn't make you feel bad. Then I would just say if you want to experiment with it, Sergio, you could either try a different type or you could try just taking it regularly and dealing with the breath issue and just seeing if so. It would make sense to me that if something didn't agree with you, if you kept taking it longer, you'd start to feel worse. That makes sense, right? You just keep hammering on it and it's not good for you, you will eventually feel worse. So if you took too much for you, or if you took it daily, either the bad breath would go away because your body detoxed something, or I just found out the other day that selenium detoxes arsenic. So there's a new thing. But if you were taking the selenium for a while and all of a sudden the bad breath goes away and you felt better, then you'd be able to know. The other thing you could do is you could just skip days. So, or if you had a hot date, you could skip, however many days before that you need to, so you don't take the selenium, so you don't have bad breath on your hot date. You can make these things work. Oh boy, Arise and Shine. I gotta answer this one. Arise and Shine says, any advice with Lactoferrin? I'm about to start this week. Planning on starting to experiment with one daily unless there's unwanted symptoms you can't handle. Any suggestions on what to look for? On the Lactoferrin and on the product page for Lactoferrin, there is a direct link to very detailed instructions on how to start the Lactoferrin so you don't kick your own ass, to put it mildly. Jumping in at one pill. If any of you want to comment in the chat about those of you who maybe didn't read the instructions or you didn't take me seriously and you kicked your own ass with Lactoferrin, you may want to help Lisa here, because Lactoferrin is our Lactoferrin especially is very, very potent, and it gets bile moving. So yeah, I would check the link. It's on the bottle. The link is on the bottle in the instructions section. The link is also on the product page. You can always, as we say, FAFO, you can always jump in with both feet and see how it goes. Or you can take if you tend to be sensitive to supplements, I would absolutely do the pinch first. And I would not jump in full bore. But if you're kind of more of a normal supplement reactor, then you can try one a day. But if you don't feel good, see, the other thing is you want to read that article about the Lactoferrin cold, I call it. I should change it to the Lactoferrin creep. But sometimes people start Lactoferrin and they feel fine, but they don't notice that over time little symptoms are like growing, because the theory is you're dumping more bile. You're leaking a little bit more bile each day into your system than you're able to clear out. And so you have these little symptoms just slowly balloon. And then it's hard to figure out because it took a while to happen. So it's hard to pin it down because you're like, but I've been on this for a month. Why do I feel this way now? That's the Lactoferrin cold, I call it, or the Lactoferrin creep. So I would just, if you start slow, it's easier to catch it. They still can be hard to catch. But, Will said the lacto flu. Lisa was saying, thank you. Your email last week finally convinced me to try it out. But just remember hearing a lot to have much caution. Yes. So thanks for the reminder. Austin put lacto FAFO. Yes. Lacto FAFO. Okay. I got to wrap it up. My voice is getting a little, okay. Okay. So I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you all for your super chats. I think I got to all of them. Sergio, I hope you got some stuff that can help you experiment. Thanks, Will, for the hair compliment. Yes, I do want to give faith to the 30s guys that we can do this and get it back. So anyway, I will see you all next week. I don't know what the topic is, but Soil Food Web Warrior added that 1/64 of a teaspoon was hard for him to tolerate in the beginning. So with Joe put up the nutritiondetective.com. That is our main website. That's where you can find everything that we have, really. Testing and consultation packages, supplements. The Love Your Liver program is under membership link there, or Joe also put the link up, the direct link to the program if you want to get into it. My life's work is members.nutritiondetective.com. That is the Love Your Liver program. So if you see LYL around, that's what people are talking about. I'm also on Rumble. Joe put up the Rumble link. We are on Rumble. We are here, obviously, on YouTube, the one that I have to worry about saying bad things. Joe put up episodes 53 and 71. If you're new to this and you want to learn the basics of toxic bile paradigm, what I used to call toxic bile theory, a new paradigm of medicine and why you feel bad when you do and why certain things make you feel bad and make you feel better. It may explain a lot of stuff in your history. Joe put up madnessofmodernnutrition.com. That is my free email course. So if you want to test the waters, see just how crazy this stuff is, that's a free way to get more information. And otherwise, there's 205 live streams now that you can go back and flip through. Yeah. So, the nutritionrestored.com/blog forum. That is 400 something, nearly 500 of my old posts, where I was first getting into vitamin A toxicity. And I have lots of stuff on lots of topics there. The early days of it. And then on X or Twitter, I am NutriDetect, NUTRI, DETECT. Will was saying I barely ever missed a week. Actually, I didn't. We have 205 episodes for 205 weeks. Will, we haven't missed a week. Sometimes we didn't do a live stream, but we did a special episode. So yeah, 208 episode 208 will be 4 years without a missed episode. So I have a perfect attendance record. So yeah, this is Love Your Liver live stream number 205, and we will just continue forging ahead. Yeah. Hope you all enjoyed that. I will thank you for all the questions. I appreciate them. I tried to get to a lot of them today. I actually did. And I will see you all next time. Bye now.